All right, I should be good. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is the Providence City Administrative Land Use Authority. It is Wednesday, July 15th. We are doing this meeting via Zoom. People that wishing to comment on the agenda were invited to email their comments to providencecityutah@gmail.com or text their comments to 752-944-1435, 752-9441. And I checked just a few minutes ago, but I'll look one more time right now. I don't believe I received any comments in advance. People could also comment via the Zoom and YouTube as well, and Ryan's monitoring that. So I don't have any written comments at this time. We have, I'm Scarlett Bankhead. I'm the Administrative Services Director, and I will chair the meeting today. Rob Stapley is our Public Works Director, and Max Pierce is our City Engineer, and we make up the Administrative Land Use Authority. In attendance, we also have Diane Campbell with Land Use, and April Fredrickson with Zoning. And then Ryan Snow is our City Manager, and it looks like we have Jeff Barrett representing the applicant today. We have one item on our agenda. The Providence City Administrative Land Use Authority will consider for approval a request by Doug Adams and Immaculate Construction for a shop located at 736 Grandview Drive in Providence. Jeff, you received the staff report in the packet and everything.
I did.
Do you have any questions on anything that was in the packet?
I don't.
Okay, all right, so we'll start by just reviewing the staff report really quickly. We look at findings and facts, and since we are a land use authority, we look at findings and fact and conclusions of law, and sometimes we establish conditions in order to approve a conditional use. Utah Code 109A507 allows a city to adopt ordinances that would allow them to include conditional uses and provision for conditional uses. The Cache County GIS parcel summary shows sensitive areas that may require further analysis. Providence City Code 10.5, Title 10, Chapter 5, sensitive areas, talks about conditional use permits required if any part of a lot or parcel contains sensitive areas on it. And then Providence City Code Title 10, Chapter 3, Section 5 tells us the procedure to do conditional uses. In our conclusions of law, Providence City has adopted land use ordinances that include conditional uses and provisions for conditional uses. We've looked at the GIS parcel summary, and it has identified areas that require further analysis for this lot. Two of the areas that fall under our sensitive areas are the hazard wildfire and the hazard slope areas. Providence City has the authority to impose reasonable conditions to mitigate the reasonably anticipated detrimental effects of the proposed use. Aaron Walker, Deputy Fire Marshal for Logan City Fire Department, reviewed the parcel in interest of fire safety provisions and regulations as adopted by the state of Utah in accordance with the International Fire Code. And we feel like this request meets the codes listed in the finding as a fact with the following conditions. First condition is that the applicant will continue to meet all relevant federal, state, county, and Providence City rules, laws, codes, and ordinances. Second condition, the applicant will mitigate the wildfire area by working with the fire marshal to meet the mitigation requirements. And Aaron sent a letter dated July 9th, and we'll just review that letter really quickly. A copy of this letter was included in the agenda packet. So Jeff, I think you've seen this letter as well,
Yeah.
correct?
Correct.
Okay, so Aaron's letter dated July 9th, it says this project is being recommended to Providence City for approval. The access from Grandview is adequate as submitted. The fire hydrant 241 is within 400 feet of all exterior areas of the proposed shop. The fire water flow, he says the proposed structure is a shop, not a residence. Existing residential structures are much larger than a proposed shop. Existing residential structures are much larger than proposed shop, and as such, water supply is presumed adequate. And then when it comes to the wildfire hazard mitigation, the builder is planning on a Class A roof covering. The builder is planning on closing all underfloor decks and eaves with soffits. The builder is planning on installing 1/8 inch mesh on all vents. And a discussion was held with the contractor to advise the homeowner about maintaining a defensible space of 30 feet between the structure and combustible vegetation. Jeff, have you had a chance to talk to the homeowner about that? Are they aware of that requirement?
Yeah, yes, they are, and the plans were drawn as such. So we'll have the roof covering as stated, and everything under deck or eaves, soffits will be covered, and mesh on the vents. So yeah.
Okay, and then Aaron has one other note on here. It's just a project comment. He said proposed construction project is that of a shop and was not submitted as a residence or future residence. A further review of access and water available for fire flow is needed if ever the proposed structure is used or proposed to be used as a residence or for any sleeping purpose. So if it's not been reviewed, that even if they're not considering it, that they're gonna use it for a residence, the kids probably shouldn't go out and have a sleepover in it because it has not been reviewed for sleeping facilities. Even
Yeah,
if
the way we're submitting this and the way that it will be used is for a shop. So
okay, I will finish the conditions that we've got on the staff report, and then I'll open it up for discussion. The applicant will mitigate the slope by using the structure itself. The engineer proposed structure will serve as retention and slope mitigation in the disturbed area. And you sent us an email on June 29th stating that. The conditional use, the next condition is the conditional use is for the shop only, as shown on the site plan. Date stamp June 24th, 2020. Any changes would have to come back to us. Approval by the city of any application submitted or paperwork does not alleviate the owners and or their agents from their responsibility to understand and conform to all local, state, and federal laws. Providence City's approval is not intended to and cannot be construed to allow any laws to be violated. Do you have any questions on any of those, Jeff?
no.
Okay. Max, have you got any comments, concerns?
Nothing major. I did wonder a little bit about, and again, this may not even be appropriate, but I'll bring it up. But the back side of that garage, I just want to make sure that we do get some drainage away from that garage. Building code requires there to be some slope away from the building. And I don't know if that's possible to get a little bit of slope away from it and create a swale around behind it, cause the water that's above that uphill from it to run.
Yeah.
Rather than
Yeah, we'll slope it away from the structure so that it's not putting, undue stress and moisture on the structure. We'll drain it away from the home or away from the foundation. In addition to, the standard building practices on a foundation wall.
Okay. That's the only concern or comment that I have, Scarlett.
Okay. And Max, are you, other than the drainage, are you fine with their idea that the structure itself would mitigate Any problems from the slope?
Yeah, looking at the cross sections and everything, I looked through those pretty well, and they are using the back part of the garage to essentially retain the soil that would be up against it. And by the way, the slopes there, near as I could tell, they are steep, but they're not the greater than the 50 lineal feet, so they are still buildable. So yeah, I don't see a problem with that, Scarlett.
Okay. Now, one of the things, Jeff, on those slopes, the building code is a little bit different from Providence City on that. And I'm not sure what the building code setback may be on that slope. So my one concern is, since it shows the driveway and it shows the lot line on our plat,
Mhm.
but it doesn't show where the bottom of that slope is. So even though you're showing that the proposed shop, it looks like it's 18 feet from like the east property line and 16.7 from the kind of southeast property line there, right around that curve. Where the slope is.
Yeah, that's the proposed location, and the slope is back.
Is that my connection or is that Jeff's connection that just went goofy?
Yeah, I don't
It's
hear
Jeff's
anymore.
I lost him.
Okay.
too.
Now I got you. You back?
Yep,
You're
we're
back.
Okay. So yeah, that's the proposed location right there where we've got on the back there 18 and 16.7. The slope is, so you see the private driveway. The slope is actually, the building will be sitting in the slope, which, like we've talked about, that will actually be better than the retention that's already there, if you look at it that way. So in terms of any concern, obviously with moisture and water going away from, draining away from the building, we feel like it's actually going to be an upgrade to put the building there for retention purposes. So I'm not, with the proposed location, we anticipate it'll cut into the hill a few feet, and that'll be, then we'll use that for the retention.
okay. If for some reason, when you get into it with the building inspector, with whoever from the county is going to be out there, and you need to make some adjustments to the location, we would need to know about that so that what we have on file matches what you put in the ground.
Yeah, and we'll propose it, once we go from here, we'll propose it just as it is to the county. And if they recommend any changes, we'll certainly let you know, but we're gonna roll forward with it as the proposed location right now as it's drawn up. And if any changes happen, yeah, we'll certainly get with you.
Okay. Rob, is there anything that you want to bring up?
No, Max had the same concern I did when it comes to that irrigation line. That house has irrigation lines with the Spring Creek Ditch Company on both sides of it, running down that private driveway that you're referring to, and then across the back lot line of that 0012 parcel. So slope and the ability to get water away from that is going to be very important.
Yeah.
Diane, is there anything that you want to mention from the zoning side?
No.
April, any comments that you have?
No.
Okay. What about you, Ryan? You got any questions, concerns, comments?
Nope, not on this one.
Okay, the only other thing that I'm going to chat about really quick is we do have in our city code that it's in Title 10, Chapter 9, and it talks about accessory buildings, and no accessory building or group of accessory buildings can take up more than 25% of the yard. And Jeff did the calculations for us, and the shop and the little, oh, my old eyes, I can't see what that is.
Existing pavilion.
Pavilion, yes. They're 15%, right? Is
Just
that
so
what
you know,
said?
Scarlett, I had to blow mine up to about 200% to see it. So
Okay. All right. Thank you. So anyway, we are under the 25% rule on the yard requirement for accessory buildings. So I do not have any other questions, concerns, comments, other than, again, Jeff, you know the drill, but make sure that property lines are marked so that when the county does come out, they can make sure that that foundation is in the proper place.
Okay.
Anything else that anybody wants to comment? Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the conditional use for a construction of a shop located at 736 Grandview Drive based on the findings of fact, the conclusions of law, and the conditions listed in the staff report.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, should I flip a coin? I think you both said it at the same time. Which one wants to second? And then the other one will get credit for the
I'll
motion.
second it.
Okay, motion by Rob Stapley, second by Max Pierce. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Voting was unanimous. We don't have any other items on our agenda. If there are no items that the Land Use Authority feels should be brought up to put on a future agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second that one.
Motion to adjourn by Max Pierce, second by Rob Stapley. All in favor? Aye.
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 Our meeting, opposed?